What's going on, shoe fanatics? Welcome back to the channel. Few housekeeping notes. As you can see, I'm not in my shoe studio. It's the Thanksgiving holidays. My house is run amok with my family members, so they've booted me out of my shoe studio. So I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location, my bedroom, for the time being. Once everyone goes home, I get back to my shoe studio, everything will be back to normal. So I appreciate you for the patience, and those of you who complimented me on my ambiance, my presentation, still the same OG, just a different location. But let's go ahead and get into the shoe. As you can see, I have the box here, and I've had this shoe for quite some time. But as I mentioned, holidays, did get a chance to get around to it, but here we go. Let's check it on out. Again, I told you, A Ma Maniere are the masters at co-branding, and they're always giving us these special boxes. I'm actually surprised there's no slip cover on this box, but we'll talk more about that later on. But as you can see, we have a nice navy blue box here. Now, hopefully the camera's gonna pick this up as I rotate. There are all these embossed, I guess, or debossed A's on the box. Nice little touch, again, co-branding at its finest. You have a glossy Jumpman logo on both sides of the box, and that is pretty much it. Size tag reads Women's Air Jordan 5 Retro SP, Photon Dust, and Black. Opening up the top, of course, you should have seen this by now, but we have a nice shot of the Air Jordan 5. Looks like maybe a fire red colorway. I don't think it's the black metallic, which is actually pretty cool. Again, co-branding. Wax paper, A Ma Maniere logo on it. What else is there to say? Ladies and gentlemen, I am beyond pleased to present to you the A Ma Maniere Air Jordan 5 Dawn. This one's the Dawn. This is the Dawn one. Oh, so I don't actually have a desk in front of me, so I'll just do one of these numbers. Yes, indeed, we have the first of two collaborations between A Ma Maniere and the Air Jordan line for the Air Jordan 5. This, of course, is the women's Photon Dust, the Dawn pair. And I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on, but first let's talk about the shoe, and then we'll talk about the shoe. On the bottom, again, vintage, pre-aged. I know a lot of you are tired of this motif at this point, but I'm still a fan of it. It does take the shoe up another notch, but here we go. We have a pre-aged vintage herringbone traction pattern sole on the bottom with an A Ma Maniere logo on the forefoot. Now, according to A Ma Maniere's website and a couple of tweets they put out, the navy and gray is sent to symbolize resilience. That's what it's supposed to be. So this is all about the struggle. And again, more on that later. So continuing with the midsole, for those of you who don't know, these shark's teeth, this shoe, I believe, was actually inspired by like a P-51 Mustang, a World War II era Mustang fighter plane, which Tinker Hatfield took some design cues and put on this shoe. So those shark's teeth, I believe, are reminiscent of the nose of a plane, sometimes have shark's teeth painted on it to kind of give it that intimidating look. This shoe also mimics that intimidating look with these shark's teeth. Of course, a part of that midsole, you have a visible air unit, and I believe there's actually an encapsulated air unit somewhere on the forefoot. Moving on up to the upper. Now, here's what things got really interesting. So when I first saw this shoe, I thought this shoe was a white leather shoe, right? So if you pick up a Fire Red 5 from 2020, or any other shoe that came out between now and then, a lot of the shoes have had white leather on them. I thought this was the same, but that is not the case. In this particular case, you have a very smooth nubuck, okay? It's not suede because it's not like hairy enough, but I believe this is a nubuck, and this thing is super, super short. Now, damn near feels like leather, but it's not quite that typical leather feeling. In addition to that, hopefully the camera's not drowning everything out, but this shoe is not white as I thought it was. It's actually that Photon Dust colorway, which I think is really nice, and it definitely gives it a different feel, especially in hand. And I'm proud to say that online images and photography don't really do this shoe the justice it deserves. This gray and grain blue is really a masterful touch by A Ma Maniere. Now, coming up to the netting is a staple of the Air Jordan 5, which I believe started with the Air Jordan 4. Now, the reason why we had the netting is to allow ventilation. Mike is a world-class athlete. His feet worked up a sweat, as most world-class athletes do. And so Tinker Hatfield, when he designed this shoe, put in this ventilation for a little bit of excess moisture to get out and some air to get in. And now the key with this particular netting is that this particular shoe actually has A's in the netting. A Ma Maniere is stamped or pressed, however the manufacturing process is. The A Ma Maniere logo is actually in the netting. This is the first time I have seen that, and I think it is, again, a masterful, amazing touch by the brand. Very good that they were able to pull that off. I mean, very, very cool. Another very cool touch, one thing I love about the Jordan 5, and it's typically only for like collabs or maybe some OGs, is that number 23 stitch there on the side. I love that touch. Very, very nice. So stitched with that blue and gray. Very, very cool. I love that touch. Of course, that Photon Dust comes up the eye, stays on the eyelids all the way up to the top. Now, what you're going to see here, or what you actually won't see here, are the ankle bolsters. I'll go ahead and put this shoe at a front-facing view, and typically there's a protrusion here. That's the ankle bolsters. There was supposed to be some padding here to protect against injury and a litany of other stuff that you can kind of squeeze down. But here, this actual design has been slimmed down for a sleeker look. I first saw this on the actual DJ Khaled 5s, which I have downstairs, and go check that review out somewhere. And I'm not sure it's the first time it's been on Jordan 5, so don't quote me on that. But there is no anchor bolsters here. It's actually a really nice touch, really slick, and again, nice design cues. Coming around the back, the coveted, the Nike Air logo. This is one of those things that when the shoe first came out in 1990, Nike Air was on the back. And of course, ever since then, we were wanting all of our shoes to have Nike Air on the back. But again, once the line was transitioned to a Jordan brand line, Jordan brand wanted to distance themselves from Nike as its own entity, so they stopped putting Nike Air on the butt. So a lot of these shoes from the 2012, 2011 era, when they retroed, did not have Nike Air on the back. But thankfully, as they're doing these remaster series, they're going back to the roots and adding Nike Air. So a la the 2025 Red 5 does have Nike Air on the back. So Nike Air, as I mentioned, sometimes it's also reserved for collabs, and the A Ma Maniere collab has this beautiful embroidered Nike Air. I mean, it looks stunning. It looks stunning. It just does. So standard laced in here is a photon color lace, again with that netting behind it, that A Ma Maniere vintage colored netting. Additionally, you have two other lace options. They do supply you with a plain white as well as probably either a pale vanilla or some kind of cream tan dust colored lace. I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to put in here. I'm probably going to stick with the white, but I'm going to give you guys a lace swap. You make the decision in the long run. And of course, those laces will run through the Dubray. It's a standard of the Air Jordan 5, helps with locking the shoe down, and there's a lace lock in there that if I had to bet has some co-branding in it. Let me unlace this thing for a minute and I'll get right back to you. This particular lace lock I was wrong about. This is just a translucent lace lock. There's no co-branding on it. Typically there's a Jumpman at least on it, but this is just a translucent kind of vintage colored lace lock, and the Dubray just has Nike on the side of it right here. Then of course we have another staple of the Air Jordan 5, a silver metallic tongue. Now typically these silver metallic tongues are 3M reflective. Let's go ahead and cut on the flash and see if that proves to be the case for this particular shoe. And so what do you guys think? It looks like to me it's pretty much reflective. I mean, it's kind of shining bright. Got my watch on here reflecting what I've got going on, and yeah, it looks pretty reflective to me. Again, a very nice touch. So as you see, we have the silver reflective tongue, and of course we have the Jumpman logo. Now on the left shoe, co-branding, A Ma Maniere logo on the left one. Very nice. I love it, I love it, I love it. So hopefully you guys saw my A Ma Maniere airship review in the back. Now that particular one was the first time I actually noticed that the insole, the lining, everything of the shoe actually has embossed, embroidered stitch, however the manufacturing process allows, A Ma Maniere logos on the inside. Now I know this is gonna be tough to kind of look at. Lighting's not that good. You know, this is not a professional outfit, but I'm telling you guys, A Ma Maniere A's are there. I think that's a very, very, very nice touch. Co-branding and like luxury. I just like it a lot. And on the back of the tongue, you actually have a signature stamp of Michael Jordan himself. But of course, on the other shoe, with the A Ma Maniere logo on the front, you have A Ma Maniere logo stamp on the back. And lastly, this is the first time I've actually seen this. The actual insole has Nike Air embroidered on it, all right? So it's not a stamp, not a sticker. You guys know typically after one wear, if it was a sticker, it's already like kind of coming up under your feet. Your heel just wears at this thing, but this one is gonna be here for a while. Very, very nice. They put some effort into it. And that's one of the things I really love about the A Ma Maniere line. Okay, so now let's talk about the shoe. As I mentioned, A Ma Maniere and a Whitaker Group chain of stores, which includes A Ma Maniere, APB, and Social Status at very least, are a chain of stores started by James Whitner, who again is of the Whitaker Projects. Now he had this brainchild that he wanted to create these stores, create this whole environment, and start to give back to his community. Hailing from Pittsburgh, he saw a lot of struggle, a lot of strife, and he wanted to do something different to kind of make some kind of positivity in his community. He wanted to make a difference. Now, flash forward, already A Ma Maniere, in collaboration with Jordan Brand, have released several Jordan silhouettes. They include the Jordan 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 12s, 2 airships, and now 2 5s. As stated, I currently have every iteration of those collabs. Thankfully, and not all of them were easy to get. So each of the original silhouettes came with their own poignant message. In this particular case, sun up to sundown, dusk till dawn. It basically symbolizes overcoming struggles, but in our own individual way. No particular people, in particular Black people or individual Black people, do anything the same. Some of us go to college, some of us pick up a trade, some of us grind, hustle. Whatever the situation is, we are not, I don't want to overuse this word, but we're not a monolith. We do things differently and in different ways. But one common theme we all share is the actual struggle, sun up to sundown, the grind. So that's particularly what these shoes represent. The sundown pair, the dusk pair, which is coming soon. Wait till I get my shipping. And of course, the sun up pair, the dusk pair, or excuse me, the dawn pair. And nothing happens for no reason. So in particular, the first run of silhouettes came out in a particular order: the Jordan 3, the Jordan 1, and the Jordan 2. 312, which is of course the area code for Chicago, and Chicago should tie in just how you think Chicago ties in. And then the last set of 3, 4s, and the 12s, 412, is actually the area code for Pittsburgh. And yes, I'm going to speak to this last point because I am not a political science major. I do not hold an advanced law degree. I don't even know if I qualify to be a paralegal. But yes, the Whitaker Group and James Whitten in particular are under some heavy scrutiny, to say the least. I mean, there's some charges being filed against them, and I wish them the best. I wish everybody the best because James has done a lot of good things in the community. The people that have worked with him and for him, I'm sure, have a pretty good things to say about him for the most part. You know, nobody's perfect. Let's just say that. But at the end of the day, we're going to buy the shoes, right? So we're talking about supporting this and supporting that. There's 2 more silhouettes supposed to come out next year. Another Jordan 3 and another Jordan 4. You guys are going to buy those shoes. So let's pump our brakes about full stop canceling the Whitaker Group. I mean, keep it a buck. That plus, both these shoes had a $5 EQL charge. The shipping is all over the place. Discord pays shipping, but then the actual A Ma Maniere site drops don't pay shipping. It's a whole lot of moving pieces. But what I want to do is focus on the shoes. I'm here for the shoes. Hopefully you're here for the shoes. And I'm also all about the message. So on top of that, I'm in too deep. Again, you guys see this picture. Hopefully it'll get put up here. I'm in too deep. I got to have all the A Ma Maniere releases. So it is what it is. All that being said, this has been the Air Jordan 5 Dawn pair, the Photon Dust, the women's Air Jordan release. And guys, I like it. I actually like it a whole lot. This actually could have been in contention for sneaker of the year, maybe. I mean, I know how it goes, right? This is one of the best Jordan brand releases all year. I mean, let's not belay that point. As far as sizing is concerned, I would be remiss if I did not mention, typically I wear a 10.5 in men. So this would have been a 12 in women. I opted for a 12.5 to go for an 11, and I'm thankful I did. I got a half size up. This shoe actually fits me pretty snugly. Women typically have a much narrower foot than men, so the actual tooling, I believe, is actually cut to women's feet, which makes it a lot more narrow. So maybe do yourself a favor and get yourself a half size up, in addition to a little bit of this extra padding on the inside at least, from this nice luxurious insole and lining. So there you go. And that is it. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining in with me. I have a couple more shoes on the way, as I mentioned. This has been the Air Jordan 5 Dawn pair from the A Ma Maniere Whitaker Group and all that chain of stores. And guys, until the next one, I have been Jay Shoe Fanatic, and I'm out of here. Black Snow. Oh, the original cut. There it absolutely is. I might like it better than the 2020 version. So, like, and I had to have